We are live, and we have Bryony Francis from Herefordshire in the UK. Bryony joined the Hero program about 3 months ago and lost 15 kilograms, or 2 stone and 5 pounds, or just 30-ish pounds. Tremendous results. Bryony, welcome. And can you tell us take us back to before you felt so awesome, and tell us about the dark place. What was it like when you were kind of playing with the idea of transforming your health or transforming your life? How bad was it? Maybe you can just share a bit about that.
It felt pretty bad for me. I was quite stressed about both the way I looked and about other stuff that was going on in my personal life. I was unhappy with the way I looked in any kind of clothing. I felt that some people, you can put a bin liner on them and they look great, and that was anything on me just looked awful. So that was a big sap to my confidence. I felt awful because most of my friends are who I socialize with are outdoor fitness type people, and they're engaged in outdoor fitness activities, and I love doing those sorts of things, but I just couldn't keep up. So I was breathless all the time. I was able to walk up mountains, not a problem, but I just had to do it really, really slowly. I was out of breath. I was a profuse sweater. And so that was hugely embarrassing. I snored a lot and loudly most of the night, so I never got restful sleep. I never felt energized. My husband often slept in a different room because he couldn't cope, and so I felt bad about disrupting his sleep as well. I had aches and pains, which I just associated with growing older, but I'm 52. That's not that old. But I thought that was the way it was until I suddenly realized that all of these people were similar sort of age to me, and they weren't experiencing these problems, and they were able to do so much more stuff. So I just thought, well, they're fit and I'm fat, and that was that really. So yeah, it was tough. It was tough.
And then what did you decide to do? You decided to go on a Google spree to find out what you could do to change your situation?
Well, so a long time ago, yeah, that's exactly what I did. Probably in about 2011, I did that, and I came across a local woman called Zoe Harcombe, who was doing her own version of a diet where you don't mix fats and carbs. And I looked at the science behind it, and I thought, okay, well, that kind of makes sense to me. Tried it, worked a bit, lost a bit, found it quite complicated to stick to, fell off, put more weight back on. And then eventually I did find the Diet Doctor and Finney and Noakes's stuff with the Involex, and then through them I hit across Professor Noakes's stuff, and then Real Meal Revolution through Banting, and joining a face-to-face group with a friend of mine who is South African actually, and said, "Have you heard about Real Meal Revolution? Here's their book. Have a look." So I did that, and then I loved it. Got hooked into the programs in that way, really. Certainly the rest.
And so that was that was what, like 5 or 6 years ago?
Yeah, that was ages ago. Yeah, that was. That was sort of 2016, I think. I first joined a Real Meal Revolution site, and as a member, loved the theory, loved the science behind it, totally made sense. Couldn't find anything anywhere. I'm a bit of a researcher. Couldn't find anything anywhere else that disproved the science. I could only find stuff that sort of that Real Meal Revolution and Prof Noakes had already refuted. So I was like, well, you guys need to move on, and this is surely the way to go. So yeah, that's where I was with it. I knew it was the right thing to do.
That's great. So, but
yes,
you knew what the right thing was to do, and often that is the case. And you carried on for a couple of years, and then there was some stuff that happened last year, and around about that time you decided to make a few changes. Maybe you can tell us a bit about that story.
Yeah, so May last year, a lorry carrying 28 tons of timber crashed into our home, and it's not safe to live in at the moment. So we've been in rented accommodation ever since. And we were considering how unlucky we were very, very lucky indeed. If my husband had been in, he would have been killed, because that's the room that he would have been in at the time. And the timbers just came battering through 2-foot thick stone walls like
Wow.
like battering rams. And I was in the kitchen with the dog, thankfully, and I was making lunch, and it was like a bomb going off. And then dealing with the aftermath of all of that, I realized that life just changes in a nanosecond, and you haven't got time to think about or to procrastinate, really, to delay over things that you want to do. You've got to make happen what you want to happen. And so I started to control the things that I could control, because I'm still dealing with the stress and the trauma of the aftermath of that. So control what I can, make myself happy in the areas that I can, and then, deal with the rest of it. And that's what made me, part of what made me say, right, now is the time to do this weight loss thing and really get to grips with it. Give it one big shot.
Give it a proper crack.
Buy in, commit, do it, and then see whether it works, whether it really works if you really put the effort in.
I remember having a conversation with you, I think over WhatsApp, and you said, like, "Are you sure this is going to work?" or something.
Yeah.
And I said, like, pinky swear.
Yeah. I was hesitant, and I was skeptical about whether, but I think that's more about whether I could make it work for me, right? Because I am a skeptic, but I'm also a self-saboteur. I am really good at failing, and I think that's because I don't commit fully, and I almost try and find ways, because I'm a self-saboteur. I go, right, you're a failure, therefore find the way to prove that hypothesis. Find the way to prove that you're a failure, and then go, there you go. See, I did it again. I'm a great failure. I'm great at failing. So yeah, that I was looking for kind of you to support that, I guess, but that's got to come from inside.
Totally. Now, you've done a couple of weight loss programs in the past.
Yeah.
So could you explain perhaps what you were expecting and compare that to what you actually ended up getting?
Okay. So the weight loss programs that I've done in the past, certainly Weight Watchers, when you walk into a big auditorium and there's loads of people and they're all sitting together, and you stand on the scales and the scales becomes the focus, and people are applauded, it all feels, there's a kind of judgment, I felt, that and you become sort of lost in the numbers, I feel, in these big sort of programs. With the Hero program, I wasn't expecting it to be as real as it was. It's such a small group of people. There was only 4 of us plus the group leader, wonderful Danny, and it's very real, and people are vulnerable and they share those vulnerabilities. And if you're not particularly interested in sharing your vulnerabilities, that's okay, because you'll do it at the time that feels right for you. And maybe that's a time when you're not feeling quite so vulnerable, but maybe you are somebody who can. And that, I think, was a big difference for me. Yeah. There are lots of differences. There are the tools. When we're asked to, in Hero, we share of ourselves. We don't, when somebody says, I've got a thing, I want help with this thing, we don't say, oh, well, what you should do is X. We say, well, I've had a similar experience, or I haven't, but I can imagine that if I was in that situation, I might. And I think that's really powerful, to hear of other people's experiences. And then you can sort of cherry pick what you want, what you think will work for you, and have the other stuff in your background to say, okay, well, I've tried the things that I thought might work for me, but now let's try something actually totally different. I'd never fasted, and so I started fasting through the program and found it a brilliant effect on my weight loss, and also a great effect on my feelings, my energy levels. Brilliant.
No, a lot of people are worried that if they join this because the fasting, it's almost like there's tribal knowledge, where people who've done the Hero program talk about what works and then end up trying a few of the other things. So sometimes people get scared of fasting. They think if they join Hero or Real Meal, they're going to have to fast. Yeah, so okay, you've already said no, that's not the case. but then they want to know, like, is fasting starving or what is it? So what was your experience of fasting?
My experience of fasting, the key one, if people are worried about whether they're going to starve or not, my tummy will rumble. I know my tummy's empty, but my brain isn't telling my stomach that it's hungry, or my stomach isn't telling my brain, whichever way around that loop works. I'm not feeling hungry, but my tummy is empty. That's fine. That's fine. And you don't have to starve. You can drink fluids, and you can drink broth, and that's great. I tend to drink salted water, so every so often make sure I've got the ratios right. But that really satiates me, actually. Boosts my energy levels again, brings my salt balance up. But you don't have to. You can choose whether to fast or not, and then you can choose how often you fast. And the reason we've got the word break fast is because you're breaking the fast of the night. So you're fasting anyway, it's just extending that. And if you start a fast at 10 o'clock at night after you've had a meal or a supper, and then you go through till 8 o'clock the following morning, you've already done, a decent amount of fasting, and then you just tack a few hours on as you're comfortable with. 16, 8, 24 hour, 36 hour if you want to. I've not gone that far yet, but I will do.
Me neither.
Really? I thought you would have done.
No, I have to say, I'm actually a bit of a lightweight faster. I like, because I exercise a lot, and so
Right.
a big fast for me is 24 hours. My like comfortable fast is 16, and that's it for me. Just
Right.
I don't ever find a period of like a day and a half where I reckon I can not eat.
Right. So I regularly do 22 hours.
Wow. Okay.
And
Yeah.
And that feels quite comfortable for me. And on those days, I'm eating one meal a day. So that's the OMAD. The 1 meal a day is another kind of tool that people can hook into. And I don't find the need to eat the whole day's calories in that one meal. It works really well, and you have a single meal and you're fine. And then you wake up the next morning and you either go again, or you have breakfast, or I do scrambled eggs and butter. I love scrambled eggs and butter. So it's a good breakfast.
Yeah, so let's talk about some food for a bit. What are some of the foods that you eat regularly that you really enjoy?
I love eggs, so it's good that eggs are strongly promoted. I like steak. I eat ribeye steak, and I'll have it with cabbage sautéed in butter. I like simple meals that are quick to prepare. I don't have an awful lot of spare time, and I don't want to spend that time in the kitchen when I am cooking, when I do have spare time. So they need to be quick, or easy. So I do a lot of slow cooking type recipes. I'll throw a quick stew in the one pot cooker and then leave it for the day, and then come back and it's all ready. So beef stews or chicken stews or curries, or where I've prepared from scratch. So not using flour in the recipes, not only using proper fats and oils and that sort of thing. What else do I like? I really like the cheesy leek recipe that was in the Real Meal 1 book, actually. So it's basically leeks and cheese, and you just chuck it in the oven and let it get on with it for 45 minutes, and they come out and they're delicious. And I have that with pork loins or pork chops or something. You don't remember it.
I'm gonna go and look that up. I'm gonna go and look it up now.
It might not be called cheesy leeks, but that's how I remember it, because that's what it is. Butter curry.
Okay. No, that's cool. Yeah. So and now, okay, like we've heard that delicious food, and then you had results. So obviously on the banner it says you lost 15 kilos. You say stone in Great Britain. Now, how long did it take you to lose those 15 kilos? And then can you share some of the other results? Because it wasn't just a scale win that you had. You won in many areas with your health.
Yeah. So it took me 12 weeks, 3 months. I was staggered. Wow. I'd lost that amount of weight before, but it took me 6 months to do it. That's okay. 6 months is great, but three months, that was quite incredible. I didn't expect it. So I've also lost, my waist went down from 101 centimeters when I joined to 88 centimeters now, which is really good. all the clothes. I'm a clothes hoarder. I hoard books and clothes, that's it. But I have all the sizes from a size 12 top up to a size 18 top. And I'm now
Wow.
getting back into the size 14s. So and similarly with the sort of trousers and skirts and that sort of thing. So all of my clothes that I've hoarded for 20 odd years, I'm now getting back into. This isn't one of them, but that's where I am. So that's fantastic. And I feel like I look good, which gives me confidence. I've got brain energy. Some of my work requires, everybody's work requires deep thought, but and deep work, as you probably know it. But it's the ability to do those things for longer stretches of time, rather than just a couple of minutes that I could do when I had all this brain fog. And I feel lighter. I feel lighter. It's easier to stand up off the sofa. I don't have to use my hands to push myself up anymore. I can just stand up. I can walk upstairs without panting or putting my hand on a step a few above, just to, because it's easier. I can get in and out of my canoe. I remember the hideous experience when I was overweight, and I was trying to get out of a canoe, and there were loads of us on the bank. My husband was steadying the boat for me, and I was whaling myself out onto the bank because it was the only way I could do it. And a bunch of cyclists went past, and they were sort of, "What is going on?" And I was like, "Nothing to see here. It's all fine. Go on," trying to make a joke out of it. But inside it felt hideous. And now all my friends are like, "Wow, you're moving so much easier and you can keep up. And it's nice because you're in the group and you're part of it." And that's massive. And then the other big change for me, because of the lorry incident and all of the aftermath and the paperwork and the negotiations and discussions with insurance companies and lawyers and all sorts of things like that, the planning and the scheduling gave me so much more strength and power to be able to face into those tasks. Because at the start of a week, I was thinking, there's so much to do. I've got my day job, which is really important, and I don't know how I'm going to fit all the other stuff in and still have time for me and for John and for the dog and for, all the other things that I want to do. So that planning and scheduling was a revolution to me, to just a different way of doing it, but so key. And again, freeing me. Scheduling, people feel restricted by it, but actually it's freed me to have time to do the things that I wanted to do. So that was another massive change.
That's awesome. So now you are carrying on. Well, you're not on the hero program anymore. You're kind of going it alone, as it were.
For a bit.
Yeah, for a little bit. So tell us about how you've been equipped and perhaps what tools you will use now to manage your weight and your health going forward.
Yeah. So the scheduling piece is playing a key factor. So I'm making sure that I set aside a couple of hours every week at the same time on a Sunday morning when I first get up to just go, right, looking forward. What are my goals? Am I still on track for my goals for the 12-week period? I don't look any further forward than that because it's still something that I'm getting used to. So I've got my 5 to 10 year goals and then my midterm goals, but I'm bringing it back down into the 12-week period just for the, well, that's where I am. So that's working for me. I also plan my meals on a weekly basis in that session, and I go, right, who's where, when are we together, when are we going to be eating the same meals, when are we going to be eating separately. I make sure that I plan I make sure that I plan the menus for that. Stop, everything's going off. I know, very weird. Phone, watch, Mac. Oh no. Yeah. Have you gone somewhere or have I gone?
No,
I seem to have joined the FaceTime. Okay, sorry. So I think I'm back in the room now. So planning my meals and my recipes and then doing a shop, making sure I've got all of that stuff. And then planning the time into eating, that's going to be key. I do measure. I'm a bit of a weight measurement freak, but that's because I'm interested. I don't get freaked out anymore. It's been a fabulous journey over the 12 weeks. My weight loss journey was a bit like a mountain walk where you go up a bit and then you come down a little bit, go up a little bit again, come down, up. And as long as you're on that trajectory, for me, it doesn't matter. But it's interesting for me to think about, okay, well, what was I doing yesterday? I didn't drink much water. Okay, increase my water intake. So I play about with those kinds of tools, keep measuring, but my formal measurement is on a weekly basis. So I'll keep doing that. I'll keep logging my food because that helps me to assess how many calories, what sort of calories, are my macros on track? And that's the big thing for me. Am I less than 10 grams of carbs, higher than 80% fat? Everything else sort of falls into place if those are the right macros for me.
What's amazing for me is how different everyone's maintenance strategy is. So some people love to track because it gives them a sense of control, and others are like, if I never see the meal tracker ever again in my life, it'll be too soon. And so that's super cool. I also love how the time management thing made an impact, because for some people that is really overwhelming, but I can see that, time management, I agree with you. Obviously, that's why I put that module together. It really does set you free when you can see, okay, like that's scheduled in. And people are often worried, like they don't want to have time to do the stuff that I want to do. But when you schedule in the stuff that you want to do, that's exactly what you're literally making time for the stuff you want to do. And I think that's like a hurdle we need to climb over. Yeah. So now is the time where I think people might be saying, okay, well, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if Hero Program or Real Meal, like maybe I'm not the right person. So like, what the right type of person is for Hero Program. Maybe you can explain, what you got out of it sort of as a whole, or what kind of person you think should consider it.
I think if you've been struggling to lose weight and you've struggled, so for me, it was about support network. The Hero Program was so powerful because you've got 3 other people and a coach in the room with you, face-to-face over online situation. And so if you've been struggling on your own, then maybe a comfortable group situation is good for you. And by the end of the first meeting, you're in a comfortable group. It's just the way that the format works. So if you've got, like me, if you had aches and pains that you didn't really think you should have, but couldn't really find a way of fixing, then that might be to do with an immune condition, which the Hero Program will help you to address through losing the weight and eating the right sorts of foods. If you are the sort of person who wants to exercise but doesn't currently have the energy to do that, then joining the Hero Program will probably help you to lose weight. And if you're losing weight, then you will feel more energetic. And trust me, it works that way. It's not about exercising to lose weight. It's about having the energy to exercise that complements the weight loss that you've already had, and the brain fog change as well. That's lifted. I think personally the Hero Program is for anybody and everybody. I can't. It's harder to think of somebody it wouldn't suit than to think of somebody that it would. You don't have much to lose apart from weight in the Hero Program, so give it a try. If you don't like it, it's 12 weeks of your life, and that's it's worth trying for that amount.
Fantastic. Well, Bryony, I can't thank you enough for coming to share your experience. And again, just congratulations on the effort that you put in. You obviously gave it 110%, and I'm super grateful that we've been able to help you. But I'm even more happy for you that you've got these results. So I hope you'll hang around as a subscription member, so we can still see you from time to time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll be back on a Hero Program at some point soon.
And you'll be back on the Hero. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you very much, and all the best.
Thank you.